Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to do a little bit of a different video from what I usually do. I hope it will still be kind of enjoyable. We'll have the chance to discuss that in the comments below, because this is a video where I definitely am very interested in your input. So this video will have two parts. The first part will be kind of what I promised you in the title of the video. We're going to go through 5 kind of resolutions or tips for a better reading life. Some things that I would say can make your reading more enjoyable and less stressful. And then for the second part of this video, we are going to discuss YouTube's AI stuff a little bit. If you are not interested in one of the parts of the videos, then you can use the chapters to watch whatever you like, and then you just leave. That's completely fine with me as well. But yeah, that's kind of the plan. I will talk about how these two things come together a little bit later on in the video. But for now, let's discuss my 5 resolutions for a better reading life. Now, before we get deeper into this, I want to say that all of this is subjective. These are things that help me. So it doesn't mean that necessarily this is like the right thing for you, and if you don't like it, that's totally fine. I just wanted to share kind of my view of my reading and how I keep it enjoyable throughout the years, because a lot of people I've seen with like channels that kind of are like dying down a little bit. It's like people don't really love reading anymore since they started their channels, or yeah, just life changes and stuff. So everyone's like different, and these are just some things that help me. Now, the first thing I would say is remember why you are reading in the first place. So this is very much something you can apply to anything you do in your life, because a lot of things we do in our everyday lives, we have like a task list, we're just like ticking things off, and it might feel like we're just like always running out of time and just always trying to fit like every single task into our daily lives. And so to take a step back and to kind of bring to mind again why these tasks are on your list in the first place can be really helpful, especially when it comes to your hobbies. So ask yourself, like, why are you reading? What kind of need do you fulfill with your reading? And I think depending on the answer to that question, there will be like different things that kind of help you figure out how to make your reading a little bit more enjoyable again. So for example, if you are mainly reading to relax after work and you just find yourself being maybe in a little bit of a reading slump, or yeah, you just do like more like TV watching or something like that, then maybe the whole like TV or TikTok situation or whatever you're fighting against is what is helping you relax right now, probably because of high stress levels, and the reading is just not doing the job in the same way. So, you know, just think a little bit about like why you are doing the reading in the first place. Another reason might be that you want to learn something new, which is like really important obviously as well. And so yeah, just remember kind of like why you are doing things, and find the motivation again to do the things and not just do it to tick it off at the end of the day. My second tip would be to not let anyone tell you what or how to read. So for example, there has been like, and I don't want to open this up, but there has been like times when people say, for example, that audiobooks aren't reading because you're not doing it with your eyeballs, which is an absolutely ableist view of reading and absolute trash. But yeah, I feel like a lot of my reading I do is audiobooks. Like almost half of the reading I do in a year usually is audiobooks. So if it comes to like the numbers, for example, like I read about 100 books a year, and if I didn't count audiobooks or didn't do audiobooks, that number would not be that high, and that would be fine as well. But you know, I'm not letting anyone tell me that audiobooks aren't real reading, for example. Same comes to what you're reading. So, for example, some people might think that certain genres just aren't like real reading. You're not a real reader if you only read those genres, which again is absolutely stupid. And I would say cut that out. Like, if you have like people on your timelines that say these things, just get rid of those. Like, block them, whatever. I don't know the apps, but just don't let people tell you and how and why to enjoy reading, how to do it, when to do it, how much to do it. Don't like get yourself sucked into the questions of like real reading or a real reader, which it just takes all the fun out of it. And this also ties back to the first point, like considering what you're reading for, then this also should lead to the kinds of books, for example, that you're reading or how you are reading them. For example, if you are reading to learn new things, then maybe you are a nonfiction buff and you love nonfiction books, and then you should be reading nonfiction books. You know what I mean? So this all kind of ties together as well. But I think that reading for a long time has been more of a hobby that you do on your own. But now, because of like booktube and book talk and all of that, it has become much more of a thing we all do together, and sometimes that can be a little bit of a hindrance of enjoyment as well, which leads perfectly over to my third tip, which would be to get rid of things that make your reading life stressful. Now, this one ties back to the whole social media aspect, especially because I think that sometimes when you see other people talk about their reading and display their reading, this can make your reading life more stressful. And for example, I don't have Instagram, I don't have TikTok. I know I'm such a grandma, but I never felt the need to have that. So I usually only watch YouTube videos, but even with YouTube, you have these channels that have these like super fancy like library makeovers all the time, or like 50 plus book hauls all the time, or they play a TBR game and then they have like 25 books on their monthly TBRs, when maybe for you 25 books would be 2 years worth of reading. And if that is something that makes you feel pressure that you're not reading enough or something like that, for example, then I would say cut that out. Don't watch those videos anymore. And same for, as I said, like people that try to make you feel like bad about what you're reading or how you're reading. If you have anything like that, totally get rid of that. And just try to create this environment around your hobby that is positive, because this is for most people a hobby, and I think for me personally it's a very valuable one as well, but not one where I need other people's input into how I'm doing it or why I'm doing it or when I'm doing it or how much I'm doing it. It's up to me. It's up to me. So yeah, if there are like certain creators, maybe certain channels that just make you feel like you're not doing enough, you're really stressing out, for example, also as well anticipated releases videos, which can also be very, very overwhelming. Like if you have 30 books coming out in a month that all sound super great, it can feel so overwhelming if maybe you're only reading 15 books a year, which is totally fine. That's still a very high number. And even if it's 2, that's also totally fine. Like your reading is your reading. We're moving on to my tip number 4, and with this one we're changing pace a little bit, because maybe the thing that makes your reading life a little bit more stressful is that you genuinely want to do more reading, but there's just things that make it difficult. So for that, my tip would be to find a time and a place for reading in your life. And our lives are probably all very stressful. I don't think I know anyone who isn't like stressed out at least a couple of times a month. So for our hobbies, we also have to be conscious about what we're doing. So I think for a lot of people, it is difficult to find a time and also a place for the reading. Now, if you watch some YouTube channels, you see these people who have like 10 different like library rooms, and like every library room has its own little cozy reading nook. I don't think that's how like most of our houses look like. I do pretty much all of my reading on my couch in pretty much the same position, because that is the perfect way that the cat can lay on top of me, and I will do anything for my cat, so that is the position I'm reading in. But for example, because I do have a lot of back problems and pain, a couple of years ago, I think it's 2 years ago now, I'm not quite sure, my mom got me this amazing like big pillow thing, like reading pillow, that I can sit like leaning against when I'm reading. And so that has definitely helped me like being more comfortable when I'm reading. And similarly, there's a lot of like gadgets for e-readers now, so that you don't even have to hold it up, because even that can be difficult for people to hold up a book or hold up the e-reader. So you can get like little stands, you can kind of get a remote to flip the pages, you can get like reading lights so you can see better. So I think if the whole like comfortable reading situation is the problem, there might be some easy fixes you can look into, but it's like very, very specific. Like you have to just figure out what makes it more uncomfortable for you, and maybe that can be like difficult if you don't have a lot of room, you can't like invest in a new sofa, but maybe there's like smaller things you can do for the space side of things. And sometimes it might also help to have a space where maybe you put away your phone, or you don't have your laptop around in that space that you want to be kind of like your reading space. It really depends on your preferences and kind of like what is keeping you from the reading. Now, for the time, this can be more challenging. I think for some people, it can be very helpful to kind of set a time goal. For example, you want to read for at least 10 minutes every day. For some people, it can be helpful to find a slot where they do the reading. So for example, maybe you just get up 15 minutes earlier in the day, and then after you have breakfast, you sit down and read for those 15 minutes. And for some people, I think finding the time can be like a very vague thing that you just have to figure out and try around a little bit. I don't have that issue so much with my reading. I think I'm always kind of reading. The issue I have with this like specific thing with like the time and the place is my workouts. So I still haven't figured it out. I'm still kind of like bummed about it and kind of like struggling with it, but that's all right. Like it is all right. If this is something you want to do, it might take months and it might take like different tries to figure out how you can fit reading into your lives. And with that, we are coming to my last tip for this video, how to make your reading lives a little bit better, and that is to let it go. And I know this is like such a weird thing to say, but sometimes it's good to just take a breath and let things go. So, for example, if you have a massive physical TBR, as some of my friends do, that have like collected books over decades and never read them, let them go. Like, if these books are terrible, they're like old, probably super problematic, especially if you're reading a lot of like thrillers and stuff, let them go. If you start a book and you're not enjoying them, and I know I'm saying that as someone who does not DNF books, but let it go. If you start a series, you don't love the first book, let it go. Like, don't force yourself to do things that will hinder your reading enjoyment. And I think, sometimes, especially with like the social media aspect as well, and the whole like goal setting stuff, it can get like so suffocating, and then you look at your Goodreads goal, you wanted to read 50 books this year, you're currently at 15, half of the year is over. Let it go. You set like a page goal, and now every time you go into Storygraph, it tells you how far behind you are. Just lower that goal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this is your hobby. It really doesn't matter. And I think that might be something I will have to do at the end of the year as well, because, you know, I'm currently trying to read down my TBR, my physical TBR to 0. And this year I will do it. This year I will do it. And if I don't finish all of the books I have by the end of the year, the ones I didn't get to, I might just let go. I might just unhaul them. And that's fine. That's completely fine. It's not that serious. So those would be my 5 tips how to improve your reading life. I hope there was something there that might make you think things over a little bit now. Just as a recap, you want to remember why you are reading. You want to get rid of people who try to tell you how or what to read. You want to get rid of like everything that makes your life, your reading life, feel stressful. You want to find a space and a time for your reading in your life. And in the end, you just want to let it go. You just want to breathe and let the stress go, because reading is supposed to be fun. Like, I know it's a surprise, but that's how it is. And don't think about the numbers as if the numbers stress you out. But if the numbers are fun, then take the numbers. You know what I mean? It's all very subjective. And I think we all have to find like the perfect way of reading for ourselves. And if you're someone who's like very busy and you just can't seem to find the time you want for your reading, then maybe you're just doing a lot of other amazing things. And then maybe it's also good to think about why you're doing all of these other amazing things. Like, as I said in the beginning, don't take your life as an endless to-do list. Think about why you want to do the things you're doing. Okay, I have been babbling on for way longer than I thought I would with these 5 tips. Now we're gonna get into the second part of this video, and I will try to keep that quite short. I don't really have like a ton of things to say about that, but knowing me, I can still talk for another 15 minutes. So, why have I done this video? Now, this is a video that is very not typical of my content, and it's not a video I would have done like on my own. So I would love to hear whether you actually enjoyed this, whether you think this like helped you in any way, whether when you saw the title and a thumbnail it intrigued you to click on it. I would love to hear about that, especially if you're someone who usually watches my content and kind of if you know what I'm usually doing. So you might be wondering, why in the hell did I do this video if this is like kind of like out of my ballpark? And the reason for that is that a couple of weeks ago, YouTube had a kind of new feature in the YouTube Studio, and that is an AI generated recommendation list for videos for your channel. So basically, you can just let the YouTube AI tell you which videos you're supposed to film next, which I think is very, very weird. Like, when I first saw this, I was kind of disturbed by it. And so I wanted to do a video about it and kind of see what you think, because so far I haven't actually seen anyone in like my bookish bubble talk about this. So yeah, I just wanted to put this out there kind of like as a question of what you also as like consumers of like booktube videos, like what do you think about like the AI telling us what to film? So you don't have to do it, basically. It's just like an inspiration. I have talked about this with some of my like booktube friends, like what they think about it. And usually these recommendations are like eerily close to your content, because obviously the AI can see your content and also see kind of what videos probably are doing well and not so well on your channel. So I think it's very much based on that. Sometimes it also recommends me videos that I have already done. So for example, it recommended me to do another one of my Diversify Your Fantasy Reading videos about Asian authors, which I did a couple of weeks ago. So it's like, it is a little bit weird in that regard, but sometimes it also recommends me things I actually wanted to do. So that's also very weird. Maybe not like completely on point, but like so close that it's creepy. So yeah, it's like, I have been looking at this just to kind of like figure out how well it works, and this recommendation I got as like a video I should do on my channel. This one felt more generic, I guess, and not something I usually do on here. So that's why I kind of wanted to take this as an example, just for you to get kind of a feel of like these recommendations if you are not a YouTuber yourself. So all that to say, I would love to hear about your thoughts about this, because yeah, for me, as I said, it feels very weird. It kind of feels like taking what makes kind of like the job of a booktuber, like the most important thing is like coming up with interesting videos to do. On the other hand, like, I needed to film something today. I really wanted to have a video to go up while I'm on vacation next week, and I had no idea what to do. So in that regard, it kind of helped me as well. But yeah, I feel like the kind of the creativity of like coming up with video concepts is taken away with this tool. And also, usually what it recommends is doing discussion videos. And for example, like, my channel is mostly reading vlogs of like reading different books. It has never really recommended me doing a reading vlog, for example. So it might try to tell me that my reading vlogs just do terribly and I should invest in other content. I don't know. I think YouTube has like a lot of like weird AI things now. Like, you've probably seen the weird like auto-translated titles of videos. I had to switch my whole YouTube over to English because I just couldn't take it anymore. The like AI translations were so terrible in German. Not all of them, but some of them were absolutely terrible. Then you've probably also encountered the AI dubs you can get for certain videos now, which I have only encountered that once, and it was so scary. It was so scary. But I think these are tools that can still be helpful for certain viewers. So I think, you know, I don't know. I just always, I don't know. Like, I have like very complicated feelings when it comes to AI because I have used it in the past, but I also don't like it. And yeah, I don't have like any information. I just really wanted to let you know that this new thing exists, and I wanted to kind of hear what you think about that as viewers. Now, if you want to learn more about AI, I will link a video that Raf did on like AI stuff, because I think he knows a lot about all of that, and the video is like very informative and interesting. So yeah, if you don't want like my babbling on about how I feel just like weirdly uncomfortable with all of this, but you want like actual facts and knowledge, then go check out that video as well. And with that, I think we're at the end of the video. Also, I'm running out of battery on my camera, so I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe you didn't, and that would prove the point as well. And I really want to hear from you in the comments. And if you enjoyed, leave a like. It always helps me out, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!